Good morning, and welcome to our student panel as a part of our spring open house here at Yeshiva University. My name is Chad Austin, and I am the Chief Enrollment Management Officer for the university. We would love to be doing this in person and welcome you onto our campus. However, due to obvious reasons, we have to do a virtual open house. We are actively planning for a fall semester where we will do so following all state and federal guidelines. Now, we are all on campus today. However, we are all in separate rooms to ensure the health and safety of all of our participants. We've invited a diverse assortment of current and former students of Yeshiva University to talk about their experiences here at YU, how they got to YU, and what they're currently doing since graduating Yeshiva University. And now I'd like to introduce our panelists. We're going to ask each of them to individually introduce themselves, tell us what their major was at YU, and what they're currently or planning to do in the future. Let's start with Ariel.
My name is Ariel Saknowitz. I majored in Business Data Analytics in BIMA in Sisson School of Business in undergrad, and I also did pre-med. I am currently enrolled in the Katz School, where I'm doing a master's in biotechnology entrepreneurship, and my plan is to start medical school this fall.
Well, hi there. I'm Ari Mandelbaum. I graduated from Yeshiva University in January 2020, also, like Ariel, as a business intelligence and marketing analytics major in SciSims. I am currently employed as a management consulting analyst at Accenture.
Hi, my name is Chesky Frieden. I created a shaped major through Yeshiva College in behavioral economics. This year, I'm a fellow at SER High School. I'm getting a master's in Jewish philosophy through Revel, and I run a podcast. And next year, I'm going to be a JD candidate at Harvard Law School.
Hi, I'm Micah Hyman. I was a computer science major in undergrad. Now I'm in Smicha and in Revel studying medieval Jewish history. I also intern at Amazon in the summer. Next year, I'll be doing the same thing and hopefully starting full-time in software engineering.
Great. Good luck with that. Now, I'd like to ask each of our panelists why they selected Yeshiva University as their destination for a college degree. They likely had many options, but ultimately they decided on coming to YU. So, Ariel, tell us why you chose YU.
So, to be honest, I actually applied early decision, so I decided YU a little bit before I actually applied. I'm fourth generation YU. My dad, grandfather, and great-grandfather all went to YU, and I saw that it really does offer a lot in terms of both the Judaic studies and secular studies. You can get the best out of both worlds, and to me that was something that was invaluable.
Ari, how did you join us here at YU?
Sure. It was a relatively easy transition for me to come to YU. I had gone to high school here on campus at MTA, so I've kind of spent much of my life in these buildings on this campus. It was kind of a relatively easy decision knowing what YU could offer me personally and what I was looking to gain from my college experience, so it was a relatively easy choice.
What about you, Chesky? I know that YU was not exactly in your backyard.
So actually throughout all of high school, I was one of those people that was like, I am not going to be going to Yeshiva University. And then I got into a couple of different universities, and my senior year of high school, I remember sitting down on Pesach with my parents and saying, all right, we got to figure out where I'm going. And I decided that at the end of the day, more than anything else, it mattered so much more to me to be in an environment surrounded by Torah and also surrounded by a community of like-minded, incredible Jewish people. And so for me, it ended up becoming a no-brainer, even though that was really not in the plan.
And Micah, what about you? You relocated from the West Coast to come to New York to go to YU. How did you go about doing that?
Definitely first thing buying a coat. But for me, coming to YU, I was somebody who took my religious life and learning very seriously. And this was the place to continue it, and especially because right when I was applying was when the computer science department was really on the up and up with some new hires, and the program was being redone. So for me, it made a lot of sense.
Ariel, when I was getting to know you prior to us meeting today, you were telling me about all your extracurricular activities, how it seemed like everything that you have been doing has prepared you to become a doctor, that you were in the Medical Ethics Society, you were in the Red Cross, as well as some other activities. Can you tell us how YU helped solidify your plans to go on to medical school?
So at the beginning, I actually wasn't 100% sure I wanted to go to medical school. I always thought I had an idea. My grandfather is an eye doctor, so that always convinced me a little bit that that's what I wanted to do. But at the same time, a lot of what I did with YU, it gave me some clinical experiences. I joined Hatzalah while on campus. I was involved in the Medical Ethics Society and some other clubs on campus, and all of that gave me a picture of just really why I wanted to do medicine, not necessarily the classes, which were great in and of itself, but more just the patient experiences, the affiliated hospitals, and the other programs around the city that really, really spoke to me.
Tell me about some of the activities in terms of like pre-medical advising or any guidance that were given to you by your academic advisors or your faculty.
So YU has a specific advisor for pre-health and pre-law, that Ms. Woodhill. She's amazing. In addition to that, they also have a couple of students every year that she asks to help out to become a peer health mentor, to really talk with the students when they're just starting off, and through the process making sure that you pick the right classes, that you are on target for getting into medical school, for doing the right extracurriculars, and that process has really helped me. And I know as a peer health mentor now, I like giving back to those same students.
Thank you. So for those of you who don't know, our Sephorum sale is one of the largest on-campus events we have every year. And we're joined today by our CEO and president, Ari. Tell us how you became the CEO and president and what those responsibilities entailed.
Yeah, sure. I was the CEO of the Sephorum sale in 2019. I had been involved in the Sephorum sale for the 2 years prior and was asked by the outgoing CEO to take over the following year. And really was, I can say, one of the greatest experiences of my life, one of the greatest experiences of my life. Overall, I've learned so much from it. There's the scope of the Sephorum sale, right? There are about 15,000 people who come into the Sephorum sale every year. We bring in about 40,000 books for a 21-day sale with about 120 student employees. And all at the center of that, I was lucky enough to be able to move all those pieces around and help really make it a success. So really was one of the greatest experiences I ever had.
And that experience, did that prepare you for life beyond YU?
Without a doubt, yeah. A lot of the experiences of managing my own company really stroked my interest in management consulting and working with businesses to help them improve, and really got me on this path of trying to become a management consultant, which I am right now. So.
Hezki, you served as a head RA when you lived on campus. Tell us how you helped our incoming students get acclimated and help them orientate to campus.
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, being a head resident advisor on campus was probably one of the things I was most passionate about. We have an amazing team of resident advisors. We're on each floor, especially for all the floors of incoming freshmen. There were 2 resident advisors for the floor that their goal was just to help people feel at home and to build a community. And so they were there for people. When I was a resident advisor, I had students who were in my room every single night. We had snacks, we would hang out, and we'd run floor parties. So there would be some nights where we just get golan from down the street, and everyone would just be like eating wings at 11:30 at night in the hallway. And just really building an incredible community. And my floor from 2 years ago, our WhatsApp chat is still active today.
That sounds great. You're also involved in Yunman, our Model UN conference. Tell us about your involvement there.
Yeah, so Model UN, also known as Yunman, was something that I was part of for 3 years at Yeshiva University. In my last 2 years, I was the chair of ICC, which is also known as the International Criminal Court, which ran actually very similar to a mock trial. And what was really incredible about it is that it put me in a leadership position. So I had to create the court case. I had to make sure that all procedures were followed properly. And I got to run this incredible team of high schoolers. And for me, that really helped both develop and increase my love for the law. And I think really helped prepare me for law school next year at Harvard.
So Chesky, being a participant in our Model UN conference, did that inspire you or did it further prepare you to go on to law school?
Absolutely. So it helped me really have more of an ownership over the law and really helped me realize that this is something that I can be part of and that I can really have an influence within. And so it made me be like, hey, I want to be involved in the law. And that it wasn't only that at Yeshiva University. I was the captain of the mock trial team, and that was this other side of being now in the legal world, but in competition. And Yeshiva University really helped prepare me and create a love for the law, which helped inspire me to ultimately attend Harvard Law School.
Micah, you served as the vice president of our student organization. Can you tell us some of the programming that you were responsible for putting on for our student body?
Yeah, that was something I really enjoyed doing, being a vice president of SOY. Some of the things we did were running special minyanim on Rosh Chodesh, where we had more festive vibe and donuts afterwards. I think we one time even brought in Eitan Katz. Other things that were interesting were cholent on Thursday nights, a very popular, sadly forgotten thing during COVID, but people would gather around late at night, have cholent, very responsible from a gastrointestinal point of view, but a good time for everyone community-wise. And we also published, for the beginning of my tenure, a weekly or bi-weekly Dvar Torah pamphlet called Yitzchak Yiranin, which was fun to organize. We ran a Hanukkah concert with the other heads of student government, which was really cool, and also planning Yom Ha'atzmaut.
Great. Ariel, can you share for the people tuning in today what you have been doing since graduating YU?
So I've been fully enrolled in the master's program at the Katz School, doing my master's in biotechnology entrepreneurship. But on the side, I'm still involved in Hatzalah, volunteering as an EMT throughout COVID, and which has definitely been an experience. And in addition to that, I've been involved in some COVID testing, and most recently, I've been volunteering for the Department of Health in New York City to vaccinate people in the South Bronx.
That's amazing. Thank you for your service to the community. Did you do an internship or have any experiences as your time as an undergrad that has prepared you for these activities that you're currently so passionate about?
So while I was in undergrad, I actually became close to one of my professors in the SISM School of Business, Laser Kornwasser, and he was involved in a healthcare company called CareCentrix, which is a home health agency, and he was able to give me an internship over the summer, which really allowed me to learn about the intersection between business and medicine, between healthcare and really the business of healthcare, which is a whole nother aspect that I would never have otherwise gained an appreciation for. So I don't know if it's necessarily helped me in terms of the vaccination roles and the EMT roles, but it's definitely helped me towards my master's now and towards gaining a wider, broader understanding of the entire healthcare field.
Ari, can you tell us what a typical day is like for a management consulting analyst at Accenture?
Sure. Well, every day is its own adventure, really. It's unpredictable. I could have a meeting at 8 a.m. that can totally change my day depending on what the client is doing and what we need to be able to provide them. And I'll say that unpredictability and being able to manage all of these different priorities was definitely a value and a trait that I got to develop here at Yeshiva University, given our dual curriculum. And I had to be really good at time management, and that's something that I continue to utilize every day now.
That's a very good point, how the dual curriculum, which is unique for Yeshiva University, prepares people beyond their education to handle multiple tasks, to have a lot of competing priorities. So I'm happy to hear that preparation has led to success in the workplace. Just to follow up there, did you happen to do an internship which further prepared you for this role?
Most definitely. I had a couple of really interesting internships. One of my favorites, actually, was there's this wonderful program here at YU called Maccabee Ventures that I like to talk about. Maccabee Ventures is the venture capital funds that is run by 2 YU alumni who actually both teach at the university now as well in coordination with their venture capital efforts, Moshe Bellows and Bruce Tarragon. And I had the pleasure of being one of the first people to take those courses and then to actually work as a venture analyst for them. I did a little bit of work on the side of class as well, interning for Moshe during the week as well. I brought, there was so much I learned from those experiences that I continue to bring with me every day today.
Great. Hezki, after graduating YU, instead of leaving, you decided to stay and continue studying. Can you tell us what you're currently doing?
Yeah, so the thing that I'm still involved with YU is a master's in Jewish philosophy through Revel. A little bit of the background behind that. It really also wasn't in the plan at all. I decided that as a member of the Jewish community and as also someone who myself has faith, I needed to understand more about why I believe in what I believe in and being able to contribute to that conversation. And the obvious place to do that was at Yeshiva University through Revel, learning more about Jewish philosophy.
Do you think that this advanced study in graduate education is going to further support you when you become a lawyer?
So it's really interesting. I think that it might help me become a better reader. I don't know that on the day-to-day it's going to impact my job as an attorney, but I think that it's expanded my mind, helped me become more empathetic to others, helped me better understand others' viewpoints, and just on an individual level, to help me better understand what I believe and what I want to accomplish in the world.
Micah, you grew up in LA and decided to relocate from sunny California to come study at YU. Tell us about that transition.
I came with, thank God, a lot of friends from Yeshiva in Israel and a lot of friends from every walk of life who seemed to all converge together at YU. So even though I was leaving my hometown, it felt like I was kind of moving on to this step where there's just so many like-minded people, so many people who I've known before, people who I'm going to become friends with, that it felt pretty comfortable.
And after graduating YU, you decided to continue and keep learning here. Can you tell us what you have been doing since graduation?
Sure. So I studied computer science in undergrad, but I wanted to take the time to get a master's in history because I've been really passionate about the liberal arts. And in undergrad, I would have to focus a lot more on the technical computer science stuff. So getting to take some years off to study history was something I really wanted to do. And with that, I also wanted to learn more in smicha, to have further exposure to areas of Torah study that I wasn't getting exposed to in undergrad, and also to kind of formalize my interest in Jewish study.
Sounds interesting. Ariel, tell us your favorite thing to do outside of the classroom.
So while I was at YU, I was a big part of intramurals, basketball intramurals. I made sure to play every single week, regardless. My team, I don't think we ever officially won, but we lost in the championship a couple of times, unfortunately. But it definitely was a great part, and I think it's an awesome outlet that every student has at night. They have intramurals every night of the week in different sports. So for me, it was basketball.
Ari, same question to you. Favorite thing to do outside of the classroom?
Sure. Well, I've always been very musical. And when I first started YU, I had the opportunity to audition for one of the a cappella groups that first started here at Yeshiva University, the Y Studs, or Y Studs a cappella. I joined the group in my first year on campus and continued to perform with them throughout, and always having that outlet and being able to travel the world with an internationally renowned a cappella group was pretty darn cool.
Chesky, what did you do for fun outside of the classroom?
Yeah, for sure. So I also like to play sports and work out, so I made sure to go to the gym a couple times a week. And also I love to play guitar. And one of the things that I did is a friend of mine played piano, and Muss, one of the buildings here at YU, has a bunch of pianos, and we used to go every week on Tuesday nights to the pianos, and I would bring my guitar, and we just have jam sessions.
That sounds like fun. And finally, Micah, tell us about your Night Seder experiences.
The learning nights here at YU was actually one of the favorite parts of my day. At like the end of a long day of classes, you would like come back to like an oasis of time where you would just like refocus on Limud Torah for 2 hours and kind of like recenter the day and provide like this bookend to your day that like kept you like focused.
Ariel, if you can go back and do it all over again, what would you do differently?
So I think that most if not all of what I did, I would honestly do the same. I'm a big believer in the way things turned out. That's why you turned out a certain way. But I think at the beginning of YU, I would have spoken a little more to the older students, to students who were a couple years ahead of me, and just gotten a little more of a picture of what I was going to do. And that would have helped me decide earlier on versus sort of figuring out my own way, which, I can't complain about. That's the word I'm looking for, which I can't complain about. But at the same time, I know that helping out younger students now has definitely made it easier for them, and I would have loved to have done the same.
What did you learn about yourself here at YU that you did not know when you entered after high school?
I was a very shy and quiet person. I still like to think that I am, but whether I liked it or not, I did learn how to at least pretend to speak publicly and put on a little bit of a show so that I can get up there on a stage and, again, as I said, whether I like to or not, speak a little bit.
Ariel, were there any leadership roles you held on campus to help you get out of that comfort zone and help you realize your full potential?
I don't know about full potential, but I definitely started off working with the admissions department, and from there I sort of transitioned into the student government role where I became president of YSU, which is the overall student council on campus. And in that role, I had to have a couple of public appearances. I had to run some large experiences and large events on campus, and that did help me come out of my shell a little bit, which is something that I think YU very much helped me with.
Ari, same question to you. Anything you should have done, anything you could have done while here at YU?
Sure. Part of me wishes that I would have taken more classes in IBC, or the Isaac Brewer College, here at Yeshiva University. Some of the best Judaic courses I ever took were really in that program. I took, off the top of my head, there was a course called Biblical Scandals that Rabbi Zev Goldberg taught, which was just incredible, something that I never knew was something that you can learn seriously in Torah, which was amazing. Even a class on confronting crisis in Judaism taught by David Bashevkin, Rabbi David Bashevkin, which were some incredible courses, and I wish I could have taken more of those and had more time to spend exploring there.
Micah, can you talk about your experience in the undergraduate Torah studies program?
Sure. I, for my 4 years of undergrad, was in Rabbi Michael Rosenzweig's year. That experience is one of the currently foundational experiences of my life. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever been through. Every year was so amazing, and being exposed to new levels of depth and profundity that I honestly never thought were possible. And having a relationship with Rav Rosenzweig has been incredibly meaningful to me and incredibly important to me as I've navigated a number of decisions in my life.
Chesky, if you can go back and do it all over again, what were some lessons learned that you would do things differently?
For sure. What a great question. I think the thing that I would really want to do differently that I kind of learned throughout my time at YU is to make sure that I pursue things that I care about. I came in with a very clear idea of what I thought success meant, and then there would be some classes or some courses that I didn't mean to take, and I'm like, wow, this is something that I love and I enjoy so much, and I wish that I was a little bit more open-minded to that in the beginning.
And Micah, what about you? Any regrets? Anything you would have done differently?
Honestly, I really have no regrets. I loved what I did. I think everything worked out really well, and I loved it. I really wouldn't change anything.
Micah, tell us about your experience spending Shabbos on campus.
Sure. As has been mentioned a lot, I'm from Los Angeles, so I had the opportunity to spend Shabbos on campus a lot. I had a good time. I think everyone was really nice, it was really warm. The meals were always nice, there's waiters, they serve you. And there's always different friends around. The community in the Heights was also very critical. Some of the older guys who live here would have me for meals, and having that part of that connection was something that I really enjoyed and really enhanced my experience. And I actually particularly liked the Shabbos davening. On Friday night, there's the Karlbach Minyan, which is very lively and inspiring. And on Shabbos day, I actually like davening in the main base medrash. It's just a very august, regal feeling davening, which I always really liked.
Hezki, tell us about your Shabbos experience. As the head RA, you were probably pretty involved with the programming and everything that went on into making our Shabbos robust and enjoyable for all of our students.
For sure. So when I started off at campus, there was one massive Shabbat meal for everyone. And then during my second year, when I was beginning to be an RA at school, we realized that different people like to connect in different ways. And so one of the initiatives that we took is we started having also smaller optional meals with like 20 people where we'd cater in food on like the floors, and people would just get to get really close and hang out in a more almost like family setting. Which I love those meals. I got so close with so many of my peers throughout those experiences. And one of the other things that we did is in all the lounges, every single Shabbat and Friday night and Shabbat day, we would put out tons of games and tons of snacks. And so you would have people like playing Settlers of Catan or chess until like 1 a.m. every Friday night, pounding popcorn. And for me, that was such a nice thing to feel like I had a little bit of a community. And a way to really build relationships throughout my time at YU.
Ariel, in your time on campus, did you participate in any research, either independently or with any faculty members?
Yeah, so I was actually involved in research at Jacobi Medical Center and a lot of clinical research there, which is affiliated with Albert Einstein College of Medicine. And I was able to do some research in the cardiology department, specifically in the cardiac cath lab, which allowed me to gain publications, to present some posters at conferences, and even most recently to work a lot on COVID research in the heart of COVID in April and May in New York, where we were able to discover new things and publish them in ways that really helped the overall country get our act together in regards to COVID.
Ari, do you have any words of wisdom or guidance to the next generation of YU students?
Sure. Definitely, I'd say, is take advantage of everything that YU has to offer. When you think of going to university, you think about sitting in different classes, hearing from really great lecturers and rebbeim, but YU also has to offer a lot of really interesting, diverse experiences that you can have. For myself personally, that was things like running the Svarim sale or getting involved in a venture capital or being with an a cappella group. But there is so much that you can do here that can really enrich your life, and you can learn so much more about yourself. And continue to grow.
Chezki, you could have been doing so many other things on a Sunday morning, yet you decided to join us on this panel. Tell us why you wanted to speak to the next generation of YU leaders.
For sure. I think that my experience and time at YU really pushed me to try to become a leader in the Jewish community. And I think that this is something that I want to be able to give back to others. My time at YU helped me learn to embrace connecting to others, to listen before speaking, to value vulnerability, and to try to care about things beyond myself. And these are messages that to me are so important to give over. That's why I started a podcast called Anatomy of a Jewish Leader, where so many people I interview are all YU people, because that's what really creates Jewish leaders. And so to me, coming back and speaking to YU at the future Jewish leaders is a no-brainer.
Very well said. Thank you for that. And Micah, same question to you. What's that one message you want someone tuning in today to hear from you?
I would really like them to know that YU is a place that you can really carve your own path in, and a lot of things that you want to accomplish, you won't know how exactly YU is going to provide them, but if you put in the work and you talk to the right people and have the vision, you can do a lot of different diverse things here.
So in this capacity, was there any change you were able to effect, any enhancements, any modifications to the program that had better outcomes for our students?
For sure. So one of the things that we noticed was that it used to be that honor students, to graduate with honors, would need to do 4 full years on campus. And one of the things that we realized is that a lot of students wanted to graduate in 3 or 3.5 years because they got Israel credits. And it became something that was really challenging for honor students of questioning, do we want to graduate, do we not? And one of the things that we were able to do is we worked with the faculty to lower the requirement to help a lot more students graduate through the honors program within 3 to 3.5 years.
Hesky, if I were to tune into the podcast Anatomy of a Jewish Leader, what would I hear you talking about?
For sure. So each episode, we are interviewing a different leader in the Jewish community to try to understand not only the things that they've accomplished or their ideas, but to understand them as a person. And like I mentioned, so many of these people went to YU. And the things that we talk about and things that come up is how they care so much about others and how they put others just before themselves and how they're willing to be vulnerable and willing to connect and willing to tell their stories.
Micah, tell us about your experience as an intern at Amazon.
It was actually really exciting. Obviously, Amazon's one of the biggest companies in the world, I think second biggest employer in America. It was really cool. I was working remote, so it was actually a really hard adjustment trying to get my footing while just sitting in my own dining room. But I actually felt like the experience in NYU in undergrad of working through these difficult projects that we were assigned and oftentimes working with requirements that were very rigid but also needed to be fleshed out by us was something that very accurately paralleled what I was doing in the workforce. So I really felt like YU had given me the experience that enabled me to succeed in that kind of uncertain, murky situation.
How do you feel your YU education prepared you for your respective careers?
So one of the things, coming into YU, I had never read an academic article in my life. The idea of research was terrifying. And through a lot of my classes, I got to learn that academic articles and research are something that I could do and I could be part of, and I got to learn to read them and to read really analytically. And I think that going into the field of law, that ability to read analytically and to be able to read research and to read fields from so many different backgrounds is something that's going to really help me moving on.
Anyone else?
So I think one of the things that YU really excels at is teaching people time management, teaching all the students how to balance the curriculum of the Torah Mada, or even the different majors. Like Chesky said, he's a shape major. He combined 2 different things. I did pre-med and Sims. A lot of people tend to mix and match and do as many things as they can in YU, the extracurriculars, the classes themselves. And I think that time management skill is something that we have over any other college. We have that ability to really manage real life. And I think that can be essential in any job, in any career, or in graduate schools later on.
Can anyone talk about how they were able to take advantage of the services, workshops, and opportunities that our Career Services Office provides to our students?
For sure. So when I was a senior and I was applying to law school, one of the things that I realized that I had to do was I needed a resume. I had no background in creating resumes, and so I went to the Career Center and they sat down with me, they worked on my resume, and they helped me over the course of a week be really on top of it and polish that resume, make me look as good as I could, and help me really represent myself and create just the best application that I could create, which ultimately helped me get into the law school of my dreams.
I want to thank all of our panelists today for participating in our spring open house panel. The insights and the background that they provided today hopefully will give you a better look into the diversity and the rich background our students bring to YU. It further shows that our values, our education inside and outside of the classroom, prepare students for success in all walks of life upon graduating YU. We only hope that we can do an open house like this in the future and welcome you back onto our campus. So for now, I want to thank everyone for participating, for tuning in, and we hope that you'll enjoy the rest of our Spring 2021 open house. Have a great day.